Dun, 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 dun. And we are, if we're not live, we're pretty close to live. There we go. I think we're live. Let's see. There we go. We are live. I think we're. And let me check. Let's go top chat to live chat. And we already have someone posting. Andrews Bergman. Hey, Andrews. I'm just waiting for, let's see, what do I want to do first? Now, waiting for my brain to make a decision of what I want to do first. Because there's a few fun videos to play, and of the fun videos, I don't want to, with just two people on, I don't want to play the fun ones yet. So maybe I'll just wait a couple minutes, just hang out. Actually, you know what I could do? Watch Nambia stream. This is a live feed from the continent of Africa. During the day, this gets a lot of. Oh, let's play it. Let's play it. Let's see what. Let's see what's going on. Maybe we can find some animals and stuff. Oh, we see. It's like an ostrich or an emu. This is live footage from today. I'll see if I can find something a little bit more exciting than this. Where is Nambia? I know Nambia is in Africa, but like I couldn't tell you if it's on East Coast or West Coast. Okay, West Coast. Oh, it's right near South Africa. Okay. Prime real estate. Look here, Donald Trump. If you're looking to build one of your new hotels, hey, how about a hotel right here? Hey, Tan. Yeah, I was just saying, like, this is a live feed of Nambia, and it may be prime real estate if Donald Trump wants to take over the country and build his own hotels. This might be a great place to do that. The temperature is currently 35 degrees Celsius there. So, 35 is hot. Oh, it's on the southern continent. So this is their summer. Yeah, 35. What is 35? That's gotta be like 100, 105. Oh, yeah, that's uncomfortably hot. He may have to put in air conditioning units in his new hotels that he's gonna set up there. Yeah, 35 degrees Celsius. That's a little bit hot. And it's actually 4 o'clock there? It's 4 o'clock, so it's probably not the hottest time of the day. I bet you if I wind it back an hour, it's probably higher than that. Yeah. 35.6. 36. Oh, it's 36 degrees there. It looks like it peaked at 36. 2 in the afternoon. Oh, there we go. We got some birds. We got some birds here feeding at the pond. I'm sure that's why they put the camera up exactly where they put it up. Like, it's probably the only water in the area. But this is just like a random thing that caught my eye today. I'm like, let me post this because I did want to talk about something. Because my the apartment, the it's not apartment, the hotel I had. Of course, I got an email very recently that they're undergoing renovations and they're canceling my reservation. So I'm looking into different options. Now there's a lot of hotels there, so I don't doubt that I'll have a problem finding a hotel. And I was looking at a couple options that I was thinking about booking for, and when we get enough people on, I'll definitely show it to you guys. And let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's the thing about live streams. Sometimes a live stream's pretty. What you're showing here is certainly in Nambia. It could be pretty boring. You can go hours without anything happening. You can see the sun starting to go down. And the sky just looks totally different from you see how bright the sky is there in that angle, but here it looks totally different. Oh, here it looks even brighter. The camera must be facing west. That's probably why. It's probably facing something like southwest. Ooh, we're getting animals. Hold on. I see we're getting animals. We got some zebras there. We have some zebras. Let's see what we have. Yeah, we got a lot of zebras. And when night starts, still have a few zebras there. Zebra stream. Oh, we got another animal come in. What is this? It looks like a deer, but I don't think they don't have deers there. Is it something like an antelope or ibex? Hey, Robert V. Ibex, something like that. Antelope or ibex. It looks like, or maybe a gazelle. It looks like the thing they have on the Qatar, that used to be the logo of the Qatar Airways. It might be an ibex. Yeah, you can tell, even though it's it's totally night out. These things are so in tune to looking for anything that could be a predator that they just get scared. Oh, look at, he's running away. Something's coming. Something's coming to scare him. What is it? What is this thing? Oh, it looks like could be a jackal. So I'll tell you guys, the way that something like this ibex, I'm guessing it's ibex. You could tell if something's a predator by how close the animal's eyes are together. Like the closer the eyes are together, the more chance it is to be a predator. And when the eyes are separated and start to go sideways, then it's less likely to be a predator. But yeah, that's interesting. This little ibex or gazelle saw this predator come, and you could tell this is a predator just from the way the head is shaped. That's got to be a predator. Predator means meat eater. But I think it's it looks like a jackal. Now the jackal's pretty small, so probably not gonna try to attack the thing, but we'll see. But it looks like the jackal left, and this little guy is going back to feed again. Can you guys hear the audio? Okay. Well, not the stream, but can you hear? Not the video, but could you hear me? Let's see. Audio. Okay. Automatically adjust microphone volume is off. So I did that yesterday. And it looks like the mic's working good. And it looks like the speakers are working good. I do have off the reduced microphone noise background. I think that's what was needed to hear the sounds of the video. But yeah, so we got the Nambia stream going on. What else do we have? We have 6 on, so I guess I could show the Cheap Charlie stuff. I did not see this yet. Day 31.
Having been stuck in Udon Thani because of the train issues, one of my subscribers decided to book a hotel room where he was staying at, and he paid for the room for one night for me. The man with...
I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but that might be Internet Monster who did that for him.
This Internet Monster who did
this. Okay. Well, I sound kind of stupid. Here I am trying to guess who booked the room for him. And I know he was with Internet Monster, so that was my first guess. It's gotta be Internet Monster. And then he decided
to book a hotel room where he was staying at, and he paid for the room for one night for me. The man was Internet Monster who did this.
Oh, there's Internet Monster. Hey, what's up, man?
Okay, let's set the groundwork.
I'm in the process of filming a cinematic shot.
Oh, are they here though? They're watching this shit?
On both, on the camera.
Right. So let's set the groundworks. I'm fat, ugly, and old. I'm with a girl that's 34 years old. She's far more attractive than me. You control if you want. Suck a... Let's go.
Free of gratis. You get to me this room tonight. Very nice, man.
He's got to travel all over the country or the world. Give him some fucking money.
So it kind of looks like just
okay, this is a summary.
But maybe
it looks like a summary.
I think it probably goes all the way to the other light thing there.
Come here. Mango. This is like one of my favorite fruits.
Yeah, yeah. I ate some of those my last
video.
Yeah.
I think this is I'll play it. I think this is part of a live stream he did, and he probably just edited the live stream to make it like a travel vlog.
Awesome.
What are they called?
Langon.
Langon, yeah. I think you can get a Langon drink too. You want a drink? This is a drink from the Langons.
Is that a Langon drink?
Yeah, it's good. I had it before.
1 million?
40 bucks.
I work for you. I help you out.
Yeah. I'll get this one. I got this.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
A lot of ice.
Yeah.
You had it before?
Yeah. That's coconut and that's the Langons. Yeah, 2 things. And she gives you some Langons to eat too at the top.
Oh, shit. There you go. The first time I ever had that was Cosinette.
Yeah. I remember this clip from the live. And you'll see this all over Thailand. You'll see it's actually a great thing. You know, people that might be disabled in one way or another, they'll have them go around either playing instruments or singing with some kind of speaker system hooked up.
His head's about the size of my torso. Majestic. What a beautiful animal. That's your buffalo? That's beautiful. Wow, amazing. We got over here an albino buffalo.
What does he mean by same internet monster? I don't know. I'm guessing he's saying that the skin color of this buffalo is the same as internet monster.
They all look different looks and even different faces. This guy's kind of looking at me a little suspicious. You're buffalo? You're buffalo? Yeah. Oh. Hang on, I gotta do the yes. Pick up guys, we're at the Udon Tani. And there's Internet Monster.
Yeah, I'm glad Charlie had a good time.
Son, Kel, my son.
Yeah, they said you guys look like father son.
Yeah, he's a handsome one. Quail, guys, good shit. Quail.
As if the day didn't already have a ton of surprises, live streamer's girlfriend, B. More Ron's girlfriend, Arisara, stopped by to deliver me some Snickers. She appeared out of the blue, although she does live in the city. Oh, that's Arissa. Oh, wow, that's Arissa.
That's funny.
I thought she was selling. I didn't know it was Arissa. That was
Oh.
She brought up.
Yeah, we should probably get Ron on at some point to confirm if that was her. Like, Ron would know right away.
How does she know about Snickers?
Because Ron probably told her.
Oh, okay. So Ron must have told her to drop stuff off.
Oh, yeah.
Called the USA ride.
They called the USA ride. Yeah, they actually have these rides all through, like almost every theme park. Wow, that's loud. He has a.
After the ferry ran into the ladies.
They must just finish work.
That's the one. We played her too.
Yeah, we were hanging with them last night.
December 3. Yesterday, right? Baking cow.
Viking cow. They're going to eat.
Nhiều mạc em thấy.
Hugh Mark.
Cô đấy học rồi hả chị? One day? Có phải one day?
They close at midnight, so they're already closed.
Nhiều cow hả chị?
So she's hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'm gonna kind of pause it right around here because if Ron comes on, he could confirm if that's her. And moving on.
All right, good evening, folks.
Let's see what we got here. In the world of war.
Video, and today we have very big news to cover out of Ukraine, Russia, Thailand, and the EU. So let's jump right into it. This morning, we have received disturbing news that a British soldier has been killed in Ukraine under very strange circumstances behind the lines, as British forces have begun investigating the death, and we are awaiting more details about the situation. Meanwhile, Lithuania has declared a nationwide state of emergency over airspace incursions from Belarus using smuggler balloons and other objects disrupting airports around the country. And we also have news that Putin's ordered a massive military training for reserve forces as he vows to finish the goals of the special operation, as Zelensky boldly rules out any attempt to concede land to Putin. And we also have news out of Thailand that fighting has increased along the front line as Thai forces launched
Oh yeah, that's a. No, he's talking there. It's like another thing that's going on right now in the world is the what well, what President Trump declared as he solved another war between Thailand and Cambodia. It looks like it may not be working out so well for that declaration, as there is a little bit of hostilities. And I hope Charlie got. I think Charlie was not too far away. You know what? Actually, I think he was on Udon Thani, not Ubon Rachi or Ubon Thani. So I think he's far enough away from the border.
Cities of border provinces. So we have very big news to cover today from around the world. In fact, a very big news. So let's jump right into our first article, which goes to us on Twitter at It's the Enforcer. And right now we're hearing a very disturbing story out of Ukraine, actually. We're hearing this from the UK government, in fact. We're hearing that Britain says one of its soldiers has been killed in Ukraine, and the details are sort of vague about it. It's a very...
Yeah, so here's what I have to say about this. And every life lost is terrible. But there's 1,000 people a day getting killed there. I would say like maybe, well, I shouldn't say 1,000 people a day. There's probably like 800 people a day getting killed, and 500 of them are Russian, and probably 200 to 300 are Ukrainian. You know, being on the defense, you generally are less likely to get killed than if you're told to invade and have to go into a territory. Usually it's like a 3-to-1 ratio in typical warfare.
Very odd occurrence, and we have really never heard of this happening really before. So here is the statement from the Ministry of Defense out of the UK. They say, "It is with deep regret that we must announce that a member of the UK Armed Forces died in Ukraine this morning on Tuesday, the 9th of December, and he was injured in a tragic accident whilst observing Ukrainian forces test a new defensive capability away from the front lines, and the family's been notified, and our thoughts are with them at this sad and difficult
time." So accidents happen. Like, even in Russia yesterday, it was reported yesterday that there was 2 pilots, and pilots are the most precious units of all war. Air Force pilots are worth more. One pilot is worth more than 1,000 soldiers. And what happened was this plane was in a hangar, and for some reason the ejection thing went off in the plane. Like, it ejected both of the pilots. They were encapsulated in a hangar, and the seats ejected for both pilots, and it went up and it hit the concrete. And I'll say it's hard to say, unfortunately, but unfortunate for them for sure. The pilots were not rendered livable, if that's a good way to say it. Who knows? The ejection seat for both of them went off, and it ejected them right into the ceiling that was made of concrete. It did not turn out well for them.
So first off,
and that was yesterday.
To the family, by the way, of course, this is a tragic event that's occurred right here. But to get into the details of it, they say it's away from the front lines, and they're saying it was during an observation of a defensive capability, which is pretty vague. We're not really sure what that means, but this is what we're hearing right now. So obviously, speculation is all over the board as to how this occurred and what led to this. Nobody's really sure right now, but that is a very big story. We're waiting on more details.
Yeah, I was going to say that like a pilot is worth like 100 Russian soldiers, but I actually think it's closer to 1,000. That's how valuable they are. The amount of time it takes to train a pilot, especially on the Russian side, it would be they don't use Su-57s very much. Like the bomber series, like the Su-30s, Su-24s.
Right here, because we're being told that the UK is investigating the death to find out exactly what occurred in this incident. So not good, and also once again a very bad tragedy that we're hearing about out of Ukraine right now. So not good. But jumping into our next post here, this one's going to go to Null Reports, and we have a very big story right now about Lithuania that is really gaining some steam. because we are hearing that Lithuania has now declared a nationwide state of emergency over smuggling balloons launched from Belarus, and the Interior Ministry says the balloons pose a threat to national security and disrupt civil aviation, even forcing delays at Vilnius Airport.
I would say this sounds like a little bit of it's not as serious as people say it is. So you have slow flying balloons. I'm actually surprised the balloons fly from Belarus to Lithuania, because that's going east to west. Usually from the Coriolis winds, you would expect things to flow from west to east, and a balloon is only as good as whatever direction the wind gives it. So I'm kind of surprised that the wind is delivering it from east to west. But like, I can't see this as a serious thing. But I understand why Lithuania would want to kind of say that this is a problem. I think they sent balloons to Poland at some point too, through from Belarus to smuggle. I don't even know what they're smuggling.
Airport, which is one of their flagship airports, and the new status allows faster response and military involvement and will be reassessed in a month. So you can see right here at the bottom, there's some sort of package attached to the bottom of it right there. And we've been told before that maybe it's cigarette smuggling. Apparently it's a big thing in the Baltic states, and we're not really sure though, but there's these packages right here at the bottom.
Right. So let's assume that it's cigarette smuggling. Cigarette smuggling only works if you can smuggle it to the people you're trying to get it to. So I'm guessing that obviously it got intercepted by the Lithuanian government, so it's not a big deal. But like, who were they trying to smuggle it to? And was it because the winds just were not where they thought they would be, and that's why the winds brought it to Lithuania. It may not even be a big thing. Like, if you're smuggling nuclear waste, if you're smuggling like a dirty bomb into the country, now that's something to be worried about. But if you're smuggling cigarettes, you don't declare a national state of emergency for that.
Balloons. So at least according to the statement, this will allow—
And like, don't think I'm not on Lithuania's side. I'm absolutely on Lithuania's side. But to declare a state of emergency for a hot air balloon that doesn't even have hot air and you can't even control it at all, that sounds a little bit unnecessary.
A faster military response now that this state of emergency has been declared. However, if I recall correctly, I don't believe that Lithuania shot down any of these balloons before. So unless they're going to start shooting some of these things down, I'm not really sure what that's going to change. But as we can see here, a state of emergency.
Literally, balloons fly so slow that you pretty much could take even like a handgun. You don't need anything fancy. You can shoot these things down with a handgun.
That's a very big step, at least symbolically, to deal with the situation right here. And this Belarus situation is actually getting really out of hand with these balloons pretty much going almost every other day across the border. At this
but when people start coming on, let's talk about the different options to stay there in Pattaya, because like, is a hotel better? Is it like an apartment better? I don't know. Like, I think since my original plans got canceled, I had to find a new place to stay now.
Point into very sensitive
or new
areas
places,
like airports, etc. So not good on that front either. But jumping into our next post, this one goes to War Translated. Also, we have some pretty big news right now diplomatically out of Russia. We are hearing new statements from Vladimir Putin where he is committing to once again finish this war by force of arms. And Putin says Russia will undoubtedly bring the special military operation to its logical conclusion. And meanwhile, remember, like War Translated mentions, the U.S. administration is convinced that Putin wants peace and Ukraine is a troublemaker. So
the U.S. administration is convinced Putin wants— oh, God. They could not be more wrong. I said be more wrong, not be more wrong. Be more wrong. If Putin stops the war, there's a couple things wrong with Putin stopping the war. If he stops the war, all those Russian soldiers go back to their their homeland, wherever they live. They're now unemployed. And half of them probably have PTSD because Russian soldiers are not treated very well by their own. They're treated terribly. Like they get punished. They get put in holes in the ground for days. They're not given adequate. When they're being punished, they're not given adequate food or water. Like and their commanders actually steal money from them. When they're told to like go a couple kilometers, their EBT cards, you call them EBT cards, whatever cards they have to give that up to their commander, and the commander just steals all the money from it. It's an awful situation there, and there's a lot of Russian soldiers are very, very angry about that.
We have literally proof right here in video that came out today of Putin saying that he is going to finish this war, hell or high water. He's going to be finishing this war by force of arms. So let's take a listen.
Yeah, the best case scenario for Putin is to take over as much Ukrainian territory as he can and reduce the best case scenario is to do what he did with the Donbass, and he enslaves the male population and forces the male population to join the military to use as cannon fodder. That's what he's done. Generally, that's what every dictatorship has done in the past. You see, like Germany did it in the 30s when they took over. They enslaved Russia when they took over. They enslaved. That's just what they do. And yeah, it's a terrible thing, but it's just what they do. But for the U.S. administration to be convinced that Putin wants peace it's not exactly true. Well, it is true that the U.S. is convinced that he wants peace, but that's because they're getting fooled.
To it and see literally the U.S. position getting disproven by Putin himself right here in this video. Let's take a look.
But if Putin doesn't come up with a win here, he's dead. Like, he has caused the deaths of over 1 million people. Like, can you imagine how big 1 million people is? He is responsible for the deaths of over 1 million people. If he does not bring back a victory in the eyes of his own people, he's a dead man. He knows it, and he knows it, and that's why he has to go all in. If he just stops, even though he took over a lot of land already, if he stops, he's dead. He knows it. Like, people would be like, what did we fight this for? You said it was to defeat the Nazis. Now we're letting the Nazis live, even though obviously there's no Nazis.
There you have it. You couldn't get any more clear than that. He said we are compelled to do this by force of arms, and he is going to finish the special military operation. So I'm not sure how much more clear you can get than that. That is literally spelling it out word by word. So the peace deals are all, folks. If there's any hope in hell of a peace deal happening, it is definitely not happening now.
What's really, really disturbing about this is Trump, the schizophrenic Trump, keeps on going from, oh, it looks like Ukraine is doing good, and then all of a sudden, oh, they're losing. It's just back and forth. He can't make up his mind. We know Trump likes to pick a winner, and I don't even think Trump knows who's winning.
He's going to finish the war, and Zelensky's saying,
even though Russia's taking over territory, Russia's not winning. In the current situation and how fast they're progressing, the Russian economy will collapse.
Not going to concede land. So
in the current situation. Now, Russia is trying to do everything possible to prevent that from happening. So they're recruiting soldiers from Africa, Central Asia. They're trying to get India to give them tens of thousands of workers just to work factories. They're trying this, and of course they're going to try. The cheapest labor of all is North Korean soldiers. They're going to try to get as many North Korean soldiers as possible. The North Korean soldiers don't get paid. All the money goes to Kim Jong-un.
U.S. efforts in between that is simply delusional and playing games, and that's pretty typical at this point. But that's what we're hearing right now out of Putin's own mouth. But jumping into our next post here, this one also goes to us on Twitter at It's the Enforcer. And just a reminder, real quick, we're hearing even wilder statements come from some of Putin's top political advisors.
Now, this is an interesting. This is an interesting news piece because this is saying this war won't end, and this is a top official from Russia. This war won't end. Not only so, it's no longer until we defeat Ukraine. This war won't end until we defeat Europe, which is very concerning. Why would they say that?
In a short word video, but just to remind you, though, that one of the top political advisors, Sergei Karaganov, said this war won't end until we defeat Europe. That's what he's saying, and he is one of the main people in Putin's inner circle. So that is a wild statement right there, and that's just basically saying exactly what we've been saying for a long time, and it's coming straight out of the Russians' mouth this time. So I'm not sure how
I would
can get that the Russians are held.
I would take this quote pretty seriously. There's a lot of rhetoric that you hear, like things you hear out of Medvedev, who was the president of Russia at some point. I would take that with a grain of salt. I kind of view this as something a little bit more serious.
On causing World War III at this point, they're literally saying it. So I would say we should take them at their word and believe them on this and actually deal with it appropriately. But that's what we're seeing right now, just to cover that one more time of what this individual right here said about the whole situation about Europe. But jumping into our...
And I feel bad for Europe. I do feel bad for Europe. Like, I don't know why. The United States is abandoning Europe for what fucking reason? Like, what have they actually done to deserve it? It's so stupid.
Post here. This one's going to go to Max 25. And we can see right here in this post that the peace-loving Putin has now signed a new decree on the call-up of Russians in reserve for military training in 2026. And right here is that decree. As you can see, it says at the top, it says decree, President of the Russian Federation, and it says on the conscription of citizens on the Russian Federation, the reserves in 2026, it said they will basically start calling up all the reserves to undergo military training during the start of next year. So that includes pretty much all of the security forces in Russia. They will be undergoing training. And this right here does not indicate that Putin wants to bring the war to an end. In fact, it indicates that he's actually ramping it up.
Yeah, they have
going into next year.
Russia has, I think it's between 2 and 5 million reservists. So if you're born in Russia, you're compelled to do military service at some point. There's only the number of countries that you don't have to do that are probably less than the number of countries where you do have to do that. But it's kind of scary because like 2 million to 5 million soldiers makes a difference.
So
in this war, it would make a difference. That's 5 million soldiers is overwhelming force. Even if it's like an 8-to-1 ratio of you lose 8 soldiers from Russia's side for every 1 Ukrainian, that Ukraine will just run out of men first.
On the horizon, and it's not going to be a peace deal. So that's what we're seeing once again, literally being signed by Vladimir Putin as well. But jumping into our next post, this one goes to Null Reporters. And meanwhile, while Putin's calling up reserves, we've also seen that Ukraine has put the salami on the Russians once again. We've seen that Ukrainian long-range drones have struck the Russian city of Cheboksary overnight, and footage shows the moment of the impact, but the full extent of the damage is still being clarified. But
so
let's take a look.
Ukraine will not be able to defeat Russia on the battlefield. Like the number of Russian troops is it's overwhelmingly so much bigger than Ukraine's it's just not possible. The only way is that you have to either have Russia do an uprising, and Prigozhin was close. Prigozhin was heading to Moscow before he was convinced to say, okay, I'm going to give you anything you want, including all the gold bars you want. And Prigozhin, being the stupid hot dog seller that he was, said, oh, I'm going to be rich. And of course, the first chance that Putin had to assassinate him so he couldn't collect on it, he did. So that was the end of that. But that was more because Prigozhin was quite stupid. You pretty much have to have the people revolt. Like life has to get so bad, and that's why energy strikes are pretty effective. Energy strikes, especially in the wintertime, people don't have heat. This is exactly what Russia's doing to Ukraine. So I see no moral problem in Ukraine doing this to Russia. Just take out their power grids, take out the electricity, and that will make the people very unhappy, because it's all well and good as a person if your life is not impacted. It's all well and good just to say, okay, I support the government. Yeah, we were doing this small special military operation. Doesn't really affect us. But when it starts affecting citizens, things will change. But you have to hit them in the two regions that matter. Unfortunately, Belgorod is not a region that matters. You have to hit them in St. Petersburg and Moscow if you want change.
Here, it looks like Cheboksary was hit very, very hard last night by the Ukrainians. Let's take a look at our videos. Oh, that sounds like trouble. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, wow. He's panicking. Oh, wow. He's really going off there. But as you can see, though, I'm going to go ahead and mute him. He's really panicking. That thing literally exploded right down there at the bottom. That explosion was so large, it caused the camera to glitch. It literally had a pause right there as the impact occurred. And notice there's already a police car down there. Notice that. There appears to be some type of response going on before the strike actually occurred, which is interesting. So there you can see it, a very big hit here in Cheboksary by the Ukrainian forces. But let's take a look at our second video of the same attack. Oh, wow. And as you can see, this one's actually kind of yellow looking. You don't want to see yellow on a battlefield. It's a bad color right there. You don't want to see that. But muting the guy again, we can see right there, there are some impacts in the distance.
Oh, that's interesting.
For some reason.
I didn't know. So he says you don't want to see yellow on a battlefield. Does anyone know why you wouldn't want to see yellow? My guess is it has to do with, like, maybe it's a certain chemical that's burning. That's why you don't want to see yellow. But I don't know the answer to it.
It's yellow, not really sure why. Maybe it's just the sun reflecting off of it or something, not really sure. But as you can see, though, it's not looking good out there, whatever that is. Very bad look. But Cheboksary, big trouble there. But jumping into our next post, this one goes to Spravdy Stratcom Center. And we are getting another wild report right here that another popular Russian military blogger is now calling out the Putin regime, which is very unusual in Russia, by the way, because if you call out the Putin regime, that usually calls you out in such a bad way.
Okay, so what is he saying? I'll stop this for a second. He's saying that the Z bloggers, which are Russian bloggers, they don't call out the Putin. So I would argue that they typically do. Remember Strelkov, otherwise known as Gherkin. He's very, very, very nationalist, pro-Russian, and he called them out. And of course, he went to jail for it, but you know he deserves jail anyway for what he did to the flight back in like 2016 or so. I forget the year, but that was the Malaysian flight that they targeted. But yeah, like Z bloggers, they will be critical, and I generally know it because I do hear it when it comes up.
In some deep hot water over it, if you know what I'm trying to say here. They get in some very deep trouble, very, very serious. But as you can see here, another popular blogger has gone off the script, blaming the regime for the lies that brought them into the war. And this blogger right here, another Russian military expert, and also apparently an editor of a magazine, is now saying that some of the details that led them in the war was not what it seemed to be, which also follows on the heel of a major former Russian general saying the exact same thing on a different podcast. And it seems to be this is gaining some traction and steam right here. So I'm not really sure if this is something the Russians are doing on purpose to maybe try to soften the blow of a major change in the war.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me stop right here because something you just said like 5 seconds ago. When you're a Russian blogger posting on Telegram, that is completely different than what official state media says. Like all the channels like or Russia Dean and RT, they're controlled by the state. Like everything that comes out is controlled by the state. Z bloggers on Telegram are not controlled by the state. So I kind of think what he's saying, what this guy is saying here,
So
may not be.
I'm not really sure if it's
accurate.
something the Russians are doing on purpose to maybe try to soften the blow of a major change
No,
in
okay.
the war.
So what he just says, yeah, and what he says, something the Russians are doing on purpose to soften the blow. Like that would be a Z blogger would have from Telegram, and they post this on Telegram, would have nothing to do with that. To soften the blow means this is a state-controlled media thing.
Coming up, it could be that. But I would tend to believe that this is something right here that Putin has not endorsed whatsoever, because it basically makes him look like an idiot. So this is interesting right here. I'll be curious to see what happens to these individuals saying this, because typically in the past, Putin has really gone hard on these people for even mentioning this whatsoever. But let me know down in the comments below. Do you think there will be some type of massive change in Russia, like, for example, some form of light revolution or maybe an uprising against Putin? Or
he's a mass revolution or uprising. So I still think we're far away from that, because the lives of the people that would matter, which are those from Moscow and St. Petersburg, they actually have not been affected very much by this.
Well, these people right
so
here
that's not in the
taken
cards
care of
right
by
now.
the Putin regime and pretty much silenced. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about that whole situation. But jumping into our next post here, this one goes to Preston Stewart, and we've also seen the Russians moving through the mud near Konstantinivka, and right now the mud is bad. It is literally the Rasputitsa season right now. It is a terrible.
Rasputitsa. That what that means is in Ukraine, because of the climate and because of the time of year, you get this in kind of like late into the year, and then it freezes over, and then it thaws. So you get it twice a year, kind of like starting like in October to December, depending on where it is, and pretty much like maybe March and April. So everything turns to mud, which makes some forms of travel quite difficult.
Bad, and this is probably the worst fighting conditions you can find in, pretty much. So let's take a look here at these roadniks getting pulled out of the mud, and it is a sight. I mean, a mess and a half. But let's take a look. Oh, and would you look at that? I mean, look at how deep that mud is. There's literally like treads and tracks all through the mud right there. And they're trying to pull that busted looking car up right there with a Bahanka over there in the distance. So they're just dragging that thing out. Let me go ahead and back that up a little bit. Just dragging that thing out of the mud. These are terrible fighting conditions, by the way. And this is why during the winter months and during the Rasputitsa, you start to see that there's really not any progress being made on the front lines by either side.
So what he's saying there, it applied more towards the first 3 years of the war. When your strategy is to use heavy fighting vehicles, which is like your infantry fighting vehicles and your tanks, and like the armored personnel carriers, like it affects that a lot. If your strategy is drones, it does not affect it quite as much. So he's right that in the past it has affected it. It's not so much of a big deal because Russia actually doesn't have that many vehicles now. They actually switched to a lot of using a lot of motorcycles.
Because of the mud, and that's what we're seeing right here in this video. But jumping into our next post here, this one goes to Clash Report. And right here in this post, we have some very big diplomatic news coming from Zelensky himself about the negotiations between the United States and Russia. And we are hearing from Zelensky. He says the U.S. peace plan has been reduced from 28 to 20 points.
All right, let me stop it there. So the first error with this is saying that the 28-point peace plan was a U.S. peace plan. It was not a U.S. peace plan. It was a Russian peace plan that was passed along from Dmitriev to who did he pass it to? Witkoff. Yeah, I think it was Witkoff. What Witkoff is doing, like, don't even get me started about Witkoff. It was passed to Witkoff, and then it was passed along as a U.S. peace plan, but it was never a U.S. peace plan. Witkoff took the Russian peace plan, ran it through something like Google Translate, and you could tell from the words, because the way Russians speak is so much different from the way Americans speak. So when he ran it through Google Translate and then just kind of reposted it, it was so obvious that those talking points were given to him from a Russian, and it wasn't a U.S. peace plan. So when you say the U.S. peace plan has been reduced from 28 to 20 points, it was never a U.S. peace plan to begin with.
But the Americans want to find compromises, but when it comes to territories, there are no compromises on territories. So to put this in simple terms right here, Zelensky is saying the Ukrainian constitution does not permit him to give away land of the Ukrainian territories to the Russian Federation.
Yes, that is accurate. The Ukrainian constitution does not allow giving up territories. Yes, absolutely true. The president cannot do it. It would have to run through their legislative body.
Blatantly ruling that out right here in the statement that he made, I guess, to U.S. officials. But this is a very good sign, in my opinion, because we were worried that maybe Zelensky was going to be forced to cave in and give away territories to Russia because he needed the aid from the United States. But it's starting to look like that is changing very, very rapidly. And moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to us on Twitter once again. And our current assessment is that we are 99% confident that during the meeting with the Coalition of the Willing yesterday between Merz of Germany, we got Starmer of the UK, we've got Macron of France, and also Zelensky, obviously, we are confident that they all gave Zelensky guarantees that Europe will have Ukraine's back, even if the United States attempts to betray them.
Yeah, it's disturbing. It's disturbing because now we're talking about the U.S. betraying Ukraine and joining forces with Russia. Why? I would say of every 10 Americans, 9, well, I would say 7 support Ukraine, 1 supports Russia, and 2 don't really care. So if the U.S. attempts to betray them, but you know what it's going to come down to? It's going to come down to those countries putting soldiers in Ukraine. Because the biggest problem Ukraine has is its manpower. It's not technology. It's not money. It's manpower. If they get overrun, and Russia puts an extra 2 million troops, that is going to hurt. It will take, and France has the largest army in Europe. It will take them putting boots on the ground to cover all the areas that Russia will invade from. It's unfortunate. No one wants to do it. It's very politically for Germany, France, and UK, and they all have somewhat small armies. Their armies, I think their active military for all 3 combined might be 150,000. And Russia might be putting 2 to 5 million new troops on the ground. But Russia does not want those countries to put their own troops on Ukraine. And it might be what it just has to come to. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we're turning our backs on our best allies.
And in my opinion, that is why Zelensky is now openly refusing to concede territory to Russia. We did see here a statement from Merz of Germany. He said, Ukraine's fate is Europe's fate, and we're here to see how we can step up our efforts, and no one should have any doubt our support will not falter. So I'm glad to see the Europeans...
Yeah, there's a little technical thing going on, too. There is a part of the Donbass, very, very heavily fortified area of the Donbass, that is so important, because what could happen is if Russia does take that over, they might stop attacking for a bit to reconstitute their forces and then start attacking Europe again once they've ramped up their reserves. But Russia will not do anything until they take over that area. That area it favors defense so much that I really think that Europe should be putting their troops on the ground to defend that area. Russia will be bogged down there, and their economy will run out of money by then.
I'm confused about who they should support, and that's very good news right there. And it looks like Europe will be behind Ukraine 100%, even if the U.S. goes wonky and decides to start playing games and
all right.
up with
How about we do this?
So
no one
that's a
came
good
on.
sign right there. But
No one came on, so I'm wondering if
next question,
something's
even a
wrong.
better sign
I'm going to
coming out right
end.
here.
I'm going to
We are
end.
hearing-
I'm actually going to end this, but I'm going to create a new stream, and then I'm going to call the new stream the Pattaya Hotel Apartment. But I'm not going to do geopolitics side of the game. So let me just do latest news. Usually I get like one or two people. Let's see. The stream must be scheduled in the future. Okay. Yeah, so let me end the stream. I'm going to take a 10-minute break, and I'm going to create a new one. Cheers, guys.